Bro, I hate rappers.
And welcome back to the I Hate Rappers podcast here for 808s and Mixtapes on WJCU. I'm Zach, and I'm alongside Greg. And we have a very, very special guest in the building today. We have the one, the only Mikki Mase. We appreciate you joining us. Thank you for being here.
No, thank you for having me. It's a real pleasure.
Yeah, for sure. So let's jump right into it. So we're a rap show. We talk about rappers. We talk to rappers. We talk to artists all over the world. And you've gotten to work with some of the biggest and best rappers out there, in both streaming and videos and social media, as well as gambling and other things like that. So, out of everyone you worked with, who's got to be your favorite artist or rapper out there?
Oh, that's a tough one, bro. That's tough because a lot of them are really personal friends. Some of my best friends,
Mm-hmm.
so it's like working with, as in like gambling, who's the easiest to gamble with versus like who do I enjoy being around the most is like two different questions. Which one do you want me to answer? You want me to answer the gambling one?
Sure, we can do both. Yeah, we'll start with the gambling one.
That's also a trick question a little bit. Lil Baby's really easy to gamble with.
Okay.
He was easy, man. I know what I'll say, Lil Baby. I'd say that.
Okay. And then who's your favorite to just be around and friend outside of the gambling?
It might be Waka Flocka.
Okay.
It might be when me and Drake used to talk a lot. He was one of the easiest ones to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I think maybe Waka. Dang, that's so tough, man.
I'm hanging out with I'm gonna be with Waka on Saturday. He's so I just graduated college and he's coming to my college on Saturday for a concert. Thank you, I appreciate it. So yeah, so we're
say hi.
Yeah, I got you for sure. But yeah, no, so Waka, Baby, Drake, they're all some of the biggest names in the world, and you've gotten the privilege and pleasure to work with them and be friends with them and hang out with them. So that's really, really cool. And they are all the same thing that you are in the sense that they're all digital marketing masterminds, and so are you, because I see your stuff all over, whether it's on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. I can't go one day without seeing you on our screens, on our phones, on our TVs, all over the place. So you've been doing good, and whatever you've been doing has been working. So keep everything up on the digital side of things and everything like that.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Yeah. So how many podcasts a week do you say you do?
No, I don't do I wouldn't say, I can't say like how many per week. So it's not even like that. It's not like even weekly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not even weekly. Maybe I end up doing, well, when I first started, I probably did like between 4 and 6 a month when I very first started.
Okay.
And then now, like all the years into it, probably one every 2 months, like at best. I usually
Okay.
say no. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I feel you. And it's crazy. So doing one every 2 months or one every month or so, those podcasts that you appear on, they're clipping your stuff. And there's people that are even unaffiliated with the podcast that are clipping your stuff, and that lives on forever. That stuff is I've seen some of your clips on TikTok and stuff like that with millions and millions of views. And that just comes from, you do an hour, they clip on 30 clips or 60 clips or whatever, and you got a whole bunch of stuff that lives out there forever and just keeps circulating your name and your image and your likeness and everything like that. So yeah, it's crazy what the podcasting in the world's gotten into lately.
Yeah, there's a time where I'm watching your clips like probably 2-3 times a day on my feed, and then I'm looking for you and I can't, like, nobody posts your name at all on those clips, and I just couldn't find you. Yeah, and then so I just started this anti-money laundering job. And we were learning about like gambling stuff with the casinos and other companies that are that have to have anti-money laundering departments. So I watched. I think, were you on? Was it Lex Friedman? Maybe.
I wasn't on Lex. I had a segment on Joe Rogan. Was I wearing a suit? Is that what you're talking about?
I'm not sure. Maybe it was Johnny or something.
Wait. You were in a suit for were in a suit for an interview?
Yeah, it was actually my idea.
Really?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite interviews. This kid is named, shucks, what's his name? He's never done a podcast in his life.
Okay.
This kid hits me up. He's like a legitimate average Joe. Guy just messaged. He's a young kid. He's still in college. I don't know. He's like 18 or something. He's got like 1,000 followers. I don't know how I seen it. I seen his DM to me. And whatever he said, the thing is, I get, I don't know, like 10 or 20,000 messages a day, and for some reason, something this kid said struck home. I accepted the message. I'm like, hey, what's up, man? And he goes, I'm quitting college today. and I'm taking a full leap into like the digital space.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to try a podcast. Would you be my first and only guest?
Yeah.
And I started talking to the kid and I said, I'll do it. And he takes his whole life savings, which I didn't know at the time. I would have told him not to, but he took his whole life savings and invested it into a flight and an Airbnb next to where I lived so he can
Wow.
get his podcast studio in the house. So I was like, let me just help this kid in all the ways I can, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And we were just talking about different ways to do the podcast, like different things that'll help, whatever. And I suggested we both wear suits because it would be the first time I was ever in a suit because I always look homeless, you know? And we both put on suits and it was like a whole thing. I wasn't wearing a hat. I just like had like crazy looking hair. I put my glasses on and I was wearing a suit. He was wearing a suit. He had crazy looking hair and it worked. And it was probably one of the better suggestions I gave him because it went really viral, especially the clips of it. But we talked pretty deep. There was like depth and weight in that interview.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's such a smart tactic because you're not that your image isn't suits, but like that's not even like the people that you're targeting. You know what I mean? So to see you in that is so like anti, and it's pretty cool. So yeah, that's a really good idea.
I wanted to throw some things for that kid to try to help boost the views, and it worked. You know, the suits served him well.
Well, we might have to invest in some suits.
I'm not wearing a suit. unless I'm making money like you gambling, I'm not wearing a suit.
Well, okay, so the kid, right? He took a lot of his money and he invested it into himself. That's a gamble at the end of the day. Everything's a gamble at the end of the day. When you get in your car to drive home, that's a gamble at the end of the day. So like everything's a gamble and even though you might not physically be in a casino right now, I'm sure you're taking gambles. I mean, you're taking a gamble coming on here, you're taking a gamble going on social media, this and that. So like do you still get that high through other forms of gambling like this or like stocks or anything like that, even if you're not in a casino?
So I have like a semi like a little bit of a action sports history, like my whole life. Like I raced motocross, I raced cars, skateboarding. You know, like I was in all that stuff at like pretty heavy levels too. So that really pushed my pain threshold and my risk tolerance. So when I got into, and then I started gambling really young. So my risk tolerance was always super high. My pain threshold was super high. So now it's not gambling so much that gets me going, but I still like to put my life in harm's way a lot. Um, like last night or 2 nights ago, I went to, I go every weekend to Compton and South Central and I partake in the street takeovers and like, that's really fun for me. I ride dirt bikes anytime I can. Stuff like that,
I heard you do paintball. Is that true?
Yeah. I play professional paintball. Yeah.
How's that been?
Yeah, it's been awesome, man. So my brother, he plays pro, and I just want to spend more time with him. And he's like, bro, every day that I have off of work, I'm at the field. If you want to see me, come to the field. So I was like, all right, but I'm not going to come and not play. So I started playing again, went pro pretty quickly, almost immediately. And we just been coasting ever since, chilling.
So I've only played a few times. Is there like, I know there's different like courses and places that you can play at, but like, do you have like a favorite place that you play at? Is it out in California or is it somewhere?
Yeah, it's in Paris, California. It's called Action Star Games, ASG.
Okay.
Shout out Wayne Woodruff.
Sweet. Well, I haven't played in years. I need to get back into it.
I've actually never played.
You've never played paintball?
Never played paintball.
It's cool. They have it. Like, so I'm from Michigan. I'm from Detroit, and they have it like up like in the middle of nowhere for some reason, like in the woods and stuff like that. And some of those courses are super cool because they're like you can hide behind trees. You can hide behind. They also have like open courses too, but yeah.
I play a different type of paintball. I play what's called X-ball. It's imagine a football field, and then there's just inflatable bunkers, and it's essentially like fully auto guns. They shoot, I think, 15 balls per second, so it's kind of like, brrr, and it's 5 versus 5. It's super high pace, super high impact. It's like fast, real fast. Not in the woods, yeah.
Sweet. So I can only see it from afar here, but from literally your last podcast appearance to today, like it looks like you have less face tattoos, and I heard that you were getting some of them taken off.
Yeah, I've been removing them for probably been 6 years now.
Okay, well it's looking great. It's looking like it's working. It's not damaging your face. So that's crazy. Like it literally looks like you have none right now. That's wild. You got like the one up here.
Yeah, like it was my whole forehead. Now it's just this half right here.
Yeah.
And then I got some under my eyes, a little on my chin, but it blends in with my stubble.
Yeah.
That's basically it. Yeah.
That used to be like your whole face, like the whole sides and everything. So,
bro, you should have seen what I looked like before social media. Because I've only been on social media a couple of years.
yeah.
But before that, bro, my whole face was tattooed quite heavily, like super heavily. It's like my whole face. I had more tattoos than I had skin on my face.
So are you trying to get a corporate job, or like why are you removing the face tats?
Nah, not a corporate job. It's just face. All right, all tattoos are bad. Let me just start with that.
Okay.
And I'm fully tattooed from the top of my head to my toes.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody can tell me otherwise. Everything about tattoos is a liability and never an asset. Never has somebody's life gone really, really well and they go, you know what would make this better? A face tattoo.
Yeah.
You know? So people only get face tattoos when there's some sort of problem, whether it's mental or external or whatever it is. A face tattoo never shows a crux of positivity in life. So the judgment I get and the treatment I get, if like they don't recognize me from like TV or online or whatever, and they just think I'm like some dude who's got like face tattoos and all this, they treat you a really different way. And a lot of people would be like, and I used to be like this. Oh, can you guys see and hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Because you were frozen for a second. So I used to feel this way until I grew up, but I used to feel like, oh, if someone's going to judge me or mistreat me for the way I look or my tattoos, then good, because I don't want that person in my life anyway. That's not true. That's not real. That's a childish way of thinking. I need somebody to sell me a house. I need the bank to give me a loan to buy more property. I need people around me. And on top of all of that, which those are only grown-up things that happen when you grow up. Because as a kid, I'm not worried about buying a house. I'm like, oh, cash rules everything. I'm gonna come cash correct. You're gonna sell me a house. Nah. You know how many people have more cash than me? More people can make the same offer as me. A guy can make a smaller offer than me. And if the realtor doesn't like me, if the seller doesn't like me, I don't buy the house, even for a higher premium. So those are childish ways of thinking. And it only took me getting older and learning all these things the hard way. Now, the next thing is that nobody really addresses is the impact that judgment has on me as a person. So every day, people look at me different. They treat me different. They talk to me different. They make assumptions and judgments. And I mean, even when I was a little bit younger, there were women that'd be like, hey, listen, like, I really like you. There's two things that would happen with girls. One, they would look at me and be like, I don't want to get to know that guy. Or two, they'd look at me, they get to know me. They'd be like, hey, we're really cool. But a relationship with us couldn't work because I can't have the ridicule that I would get for dating someone that looks that way. And that was just like a reality that I had to face, and these were permanent decisions I made without having this experience. So then when people start treating you a certain way, even if it's wrong or it's prejudice or it's judgment, it starts to reflect internally. So every day I have to look in the mirror and slowly those judgments others were projecting on me started to become me. I started to feel it. And every morning I'd wake up, look in the mirror and feel negative about the way I looked because of what everybody is judging and putting onto me,
Yeah.
And that's a really hard way to live life. It's very begrudging. It's very resentful. It's just very dark and negative, and there was no need for that. Tattoos will always be a liability and never an asset. And by the way, tattoos are exclusively attention seeking, and I no longer want attention. I don't want people to bother me every time I leave the house. Now it's a little bit more of like the fame or the clout, whatever. But sometimes I just want to live my life. I want to go eat breakfast like by myself and chill. And if I have tattoos, they're staring at me.
Yeah.
And sometimes I don't want that. Sometimes I want to be unseen.
No, I completely feel that and agree with that.
Yeah. I guess let me ask this question, which is completely the other side of the spectrum of what you just said. What is your favorite tattoo that you do have still?
I got I think there's a couple that I kind of like. Oh, you know what my favorite one might be? You want me to show you?
Sure.
Yeah.
It's on my ankle. Hold on. Let me see if I can get it up here. I'm gonna move this camera for a second. Let's see. All right. So on my ankle, it's funny because it's a Gucci flip-flop, and I'm wearing Gucci flip-flops.
That's crazy.
Oh, how do I get the good angle here?
There you go.
Oh, yeah. That's some words on there.
It's funny because I don't even curse. I don't say curse words, but it's a Gucci flip-flop, and it says F your B. And then my other favorite one actually is also the same 2 curse words on my finger right here. It says FBs, and this one says get money.
Huh.
And I like the FB, and Norms did that. Rest in peace, Norms. But I really like that one. I like the placement of it. I like the font of it, and it's on the inside of my right hand.
Mm-hmm.
So everything I touch, or like if I drink, like I take a drink or whatever, no matter what I'm doing, I stare at it. So thank God it's one of my favorites. If I hated that thing, I have to look at it all day.
Yeah.
If you hated it, would that have been the first one you got removed, or were the face tats gonna go first no matter what?
I would just blast over it with something else if I hated it, honestly. I have like so many layers on top of layers of just like tattoos on top of each other at this point.
But I mean, in a way, that's your life as well. You know what I mean? Like it's just like the old, and then you learn from it, and you get, you know what I mean? You're going up. So, yeah. You ever heard of Randy Orton before from WWE?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he got in trouble because he had a tattoo, and I don't know if he was on a podcast or it was a video game. It was a video game. And the artist that did the tattoo sued him because they used their image in a video game. Like some crazy, like, because of they said that your arm or whatever was canvas for their artwork. You know what I mean? And even though you purchased it, they still owned the rights to it. It was some crazy lawsuit a few years back, or something like that from that.
They tried to do that with LeBron's tattoos in 2K also.
LeBron?
Yeah, same time.
Yeah.
They can suck my dick. Can I say that here?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, I don't care. You want?
Wait, I thought you weren't cursing.
Nah, I don't. I don't. The word dick, I think, is okay. I say like dick, tits, and pussy. That's about it, though. I don't say literally any other word. Like butt. Like I don't say the A word. Like I don't say the S word. Like dang. But like the. You know, I don't say that. I don't say the F word, obviously.
Yeah.
But basically, that's it. Like dick, pussy, and tits is all I say.
So is that a moral thing, a religious thing, or is that like a life, just a lifestyle?
Yeah. So I'm straight edge, right? For 9 years, I don't curse, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't eat sugar, I don't drink caffeine, I don't take any medication, I don't take Advil, Tylenol, I don't even take vitamins, but like that's a different conversation. Like, but it all kind of was the same train of thought. So the first thing that happened was 9 years ago, I was like, I'm gonna stop doing drugs, I'm gonna stop smoking weed, I'm gonna stop drinking, I'm gonna stop all that stuff. And I did, and my life automatically by default improved, like immediately. Like you can recognize improvements in my life without me doing any work or adjustments other than just not drinking and partying, right? I go, this is cool. So like 9 months goes by, and I go, I'm gonna quit smoking cigarettes, and I smoked like my whole life, you know. And I'm older than you guys, I'm sure. So like back in the day, we didn't have vapes. Like smoking cigarettes was the cool thing, you know. So I've been smoking a long time, and so then like, okay, so I quit drinking, drugging. Like 9 months later, I quit cigarettes and sugar in the exact same moment. And the reason that I quit cigarettes was I was just curious if I had the willpower. I was just curious. I was like, I'm gonna cut down to 5 a day. And my homie pulled up, and I had a fresh pack of Newport shorts, and I smoked all 5 in one conversation. And when I left the conversation, I left like, oh my God, I smoked my whole day's allotment. Can I go the rest of the day no cigarettes? And I go, can I? Nah, I will. Matter of fact, I quit. And I go, and I quit sugar. I think I was just like mentally hopped up. So like in the same thought, I was like, and I quit sugar too. I didn't even think it through. I had no reason for that. And then I just did. And then it lasted, you know, it's been like over 8 years now. And then, so when I did that, I felt that, so I was getting back into business, and I felt like I was behind, you know, because I had so many years of just dicking off, partying, going out and stuff, that I was like, I was working 7 days a week. I was working the longest possible days until I just pass out with exhaustion every night. You know, I'd be up at 4 a.m. the next morning to get to the office so I could sweep before the staff come and like have the day planned. And I was just putting in hours. And I go, what can I do to be more? I can't be smarter. I can't work longer days. I'm doing the max on both of them. You know, I'm doing everything I can. And I go, what if I trim more mental fat? I said, if I quit cursing, and for every nanosecond of time my brain saves not cursing, at the end of the month, I have created an extra 2 hours of brain power that my competitors don't have. And so that was sort of how I started looking at life. So I just continued to trim fat. I said, if I cut the caffeine, then I don't have to take a synthetic substance to get me up, which also means I don't need a synthetic substance to keep me up. And I also don't need a synthetic substance to put me back down, you know? And that was sort of how I started shaping my lifestyle.
Yeah. No, that's really smart, and it's crazy, but there's not a lot of people out there that are doing that. There's not a lot of people out there that have the mental brain power to just continue that and to keep that up and then not give back in and relapse and go back and do all that stuff. So yeah, no,
Honestly, it's
that
probably honestly, bro, I think it's an ego thing at this time. I think I have too much pride and ego to fall back on those things that I stood so strong on, you know?
yeah, no,
And it's whatever, ego or not, like it's keeping me like straight on those. I don't know.
yeah.
So you said you did that or part of that when you were getting into business. So what was like the first business venture you went into?
Like as an entrepreneur or as like a job?
Either or, whatever is the more impactful one to you.
The more impactful one was the first job. So I was homeless and I was living in Washington Heights in Highbridge Park. And the short version is I found my way back to Florida. And my boy, who's this banger from New York, got to Florida. He went like straight to. He was like 2 years like solid, and he was like in business and like started like this little real estate thing. And he was like, basically, if you get to Florida, I'll let you crash in one of the cribs, and like I'll make you my problem. I'm like, all right, cool. So I did, and I flew in a PBI, and he picked me up, and we drove past the house, like I knew where he lived. Like we drove past him, like, what's up? And he goes, you have no money, you offer nothing. All you're about to do is take from me in my life. You're gonna work 6 days a week at a tattoo shop. You're not gonna get paid, but that's what I'm gonna call reparations for your lack of rent. And I was like, all right, cool. So he drove me straight from the airport right to this tattoo shop. It's called All City Tattoo on Federal Highway in Boca Raton. And I walked in there. It was Chris and Michelle Smades, and like I kind of knew who they were. They're like popular in that region. And I walked in, and my boy, we call him Charlie Hustle. He was like, "This is Mickey. He's gonna scrub your toilets and mop your floors. You're not gonna pay him, but to keep him out of trouble." And I just did that. And I didn't eat like everything I ate was like leftovers, or somebody one time, like a homie gave me a month supply of ramen and whatever. Charlie gave me $20 so I can take the bus every day. It was like $2.50 each way, you know what I mean? And then I'll just have to figure out the rest on my own. And that really just kind of put me on par.
You you ever feel like not necessarily like a relapse or anything, but you ever feel like you fucked up something like within that and it kind of set you back a little bit and then you were able to overcome something within that?
Yeah, of course, bro. I made so many mistakes, bro. So many, but I think all of us make mistakes because all of us are just guessing every day. Like
Mm,
every decision we make is a guess. And then when we take the same guess enough times and we like or don't like the outcome, then we just guess a different option until we find the one that fits best. And then we use that and apply it towards all the other experiences moving forward. So it's like if I put my hand on the stove, it's going to burn me. And I go, okay, I guess it's hot. Right. I come back later, put my hand on the stove, burns me again. I go, I guess it's still hot. Put my hand on the stove again. I go, dang, I guess the thing is just always hot. Then it's like, I guess I'm just gonna stop touching the stove.
yeah. So is that the same with gambling in the sense that like when you were first figuring out what worked for you in gambling, was it just trial and error? Did you have the book in front of you to tell you what to do?
Nah, it's trial and error, 100%. I didn't go into gambling thinking I was gonna do that for a living, thinking I was gonna teach all the celebrities and all that. I never thought I'd be famous. I never thought nothing, bro. I just gambled because I like to gamble. And it was like a way. So me and all my buddies at that time, when we all started going like full time gambling, we literally were just like, what is open all night that we can just sit down and not get in trouble? And it was either the strip club or the casino. And I quit going to the strip club 8 years ago. So for me, I was like, if you fellas are going to the club, like I'm all right, like I'm not. It's just not for me.
Mm,
So like, oh no, it's good, bro. We'll do something else. But the only other option was casino. But I've been gambling my whole life. So I was like, I love the casino. Let's go. And we just started going to the casino every night. And we didn't really care win or lose. We just didn't want to get in trouble in those bad hours of the day.
no, absolutely. And within the casino, you're very well known for your game of choice within baccarat, if I'm
Yeah.
correct. So
Yeah.
I just personally here, um, when you look at the board and it tells you, and you're looking for patterns, basically, right? In some sense.
Some people do. Yeah.
Okay. The people that look for patterns, then I don't I don't understand how that logically works, if that makes sense, because it's the same mindset as saying, hey, I lost four hands of blackjack in a row, let's go hard on this one. You know what I mean? It's the same. It's always a 50-50 chance. Like,
So there's like two trains of thoughts on that, right? Well, I guess there's three really. The one which is like more frivolous is superstition. Like people believe
mhm,
that they're understanding patterns and numerology with a better understanding than others. So they're looking at it and like, bro, the baller Asian dudes are like the best at this. It's like really fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
You can see what they're talking about, and there is no true logic. What they do is they build logic, right? And then they place the bet, and if it wins, then to them it's validating the logic that they just created. And if they lose, then they will rationalize why their logic was wrong. There was a mistake they made, but the truth is just like nonsense, but it's really cool to watch anyway. And then there are a lot of other people, and I would say I'm closer to this one, is that you can recognize certain patterns. And it's not patterns in the sense of, oh, it went banker, player. That means it's going banker again and then player next. But you can recognize that, oh, if there's, for example, 30 bankers out of 25 hands, the probability says that the next one would be player, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's because there's a short sample size with a start and an end. It's not this indefinite sequence of hands where over an indefinite period of time, there would be a series where it went a million banks in a row, then a million players in a row, then there'd be a million where it goes bank, player, bank, player.
Mm-hmm.
Over an indefinite time period, you would be able to fall into any portion of this infinite pattern, I suppose. But on short sample size with a start and an end, like there is some gaugeable probability. But then also, yes, there's the third option where relatively this is definitely true. Relatively, this is for sure true, is that each hand technically operates independently from a previous hand. So at the end of the day, Baccarat is a game of luck until man decided to create its own edges. If they let Baccarat be a game at its purest, it would be a virtual 50-50. But unfortunately, casinos got greedy and they go, we can't leave our bottom line up to chance. We have to find ways to guarantee an edge. And when a man created something, a man can also uncreate it.
Yeah. So is that, and what you're talking about there is the commission, basically.
Yeah. So there is commission. So you pay 5%, but banker also acts in response to player.
Correct.
Which is why you're only paying commission on the bank side. It has a slight edge.
Yeah. So, okay. So the casino near us, it's called the Jack. It's in Cleveland, and they have commission-free blackjack.
But you push on a 3-card 7 on bank, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've ran the math on it. Me personally, it makes more sense for me to pay commission than it does to not get paid on a 3-card 7.
Okay, so when I see that they're taking commission on banker, I mean logically that tells me they are making money on that, or else they wouldn't be taking the money off of that, basically. So should you be betting more often than not banker over player?
I mean, in theory, yes. Bank does have a slight edge over player.
Okay.
It's like it's reasonably fractional, but without further context in the most simplest forms, bank is more likely to win than player. But it's not like every hand bank's going to win, because that's not true. It's usually like at the end of a shoe, it's like within a range, but it's usually like 58% of the hands went to bank. You know what I mean? So the problem is that you're paying 5% on each of those. So you have to do your own math, and based on how much you're betting, what your average bet is call it an 8 to 12% positive EV win rate worth the 5% per bet, depending on your average bet, profitable.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. So when it comes to gambling, when it comes to baccarat and stuff like that, I know you're not allowed at a lot of casinos. Like, there's still places that you do go bet at, correct? Or do you just not bet that
honestly,
often?
I mostly play on kirgo.com, KIRGO.com. It's the fastest growing casino in the world, and there's a reason for that. They give me access to everything, bro. Like, bro, I look at their back end, I run their software, I see their RTP, even their P&Ls. I look at literally anything I want, and I trust it. Everybody else is cheating, and they can all get lost. They can keep pushing, but Kirgo's the one, and their sportsbook is sick. You guys bet sports?
Yeah, he's a big sports guy.
Yeah.
You like sports?
As
So
soon as football
bro,
season comes around, I'm going crazy.
Yeah, bro. On Kirgo, they are the first sportsbook in history to add sports that have never been gambled on. So they've already added paintball, so you can bet on it on
Hmm.
Kirgo Sportsbook. They have all the regular stuff. They have football, basketball, tennis, ping pong, everything. They're doing motocross and supercross. They're building that out now, and then X Games right after that. They also have the bare knuckle, the BKFC.
Hmm.
It's like all around, like that's where I play. It's safe. It's trustworthy. You get paid instantly, and you can play it from home. You play it on your phone, so that's what I do now.
So I've seen before that you said that you weren't going to um, work with, gamble on, or endorse uh, online casino unless they let you see everything, basically. And they're one of the first ones to do it, I'm sure.
Yep.
But to the others that don't want you to do it, to me that says they have something to hide, basically. You know what I mean? Like if they're not, yeah, like what's the issue if they're not going to let you see it? Like,
That's exactly right. And if you
yeah,
follow my Instagram, I only story post. I don't hard post ever. I
yeah,
post, I think, once a year. I hard post, but I story post all the time. And I'm regularly posting videos of me catching casinos cheating. It
hmm,
used to be brick and mortar casinos. I'd film all these videos and break down the cheating. And I mean, some of them were obvious, some of them were not obvious.
hmm,
When they all the casinos banned me and I went online, I went digital. I started exposing all these online casinos for cheating. I post those videos all the time.
yeah.
What was the biggest loss that you've seen somebody take because of cheating?
Honestly, that probably happened outside of a casino where there's no regulation, it's illegal, and there's incredible room for thievery, which is
Yeah.
like
Mm.
obvious, like that's like common sense, like that you'll get cheated. And it so there used to be this like secret network of these nosebleed high stakes poker games, mostly in LA.
Mhm.
And I was in the scene, I was as deep in the network, I played every day, and some of those games were rigged. So I would watch players that were destined to lose, I don't know, like anywhere from like a few 100,000 to usually not more than 1 or 2 million because they wanted to keep it like the thing is, like, if you bash a guy for 5 million in a night, he's unlikely to come back and play for a month, you know?
Correct.
But if you bash him for 100K, I'm sorry, a few 100K to a million, right? Sometimes two. If a guy's willing to lose 5 million, you can get him $1 million 5 times in a month. And what that does is it draws in other players. So if you got a guy who the whole network knows, yo, this guy loses 1 million every time he plays, then some of the sharks are like, oh, I'm gonna come because I want a piece of that million. But then
Mhm.
some of them become marks. So then while you're still raking the million off the guy that's being cheated, you have fresh fish coming in that are being cheated too. So you make out with like 2.5 million on every cheat for every game, and you could run five of those in a month versus just one time one guy for 5 million. So probably it's a longer play, but I probably seen more cheating and thievery happening in these underground poker games.
And that's the same concept as casinos giving back part of the losses because they want you to come. They know you're going to bring it back,
Yeah.
and when you bring it back, you're going to bring two people with you that haven't bet yet. You know what I mean? So it's the same. It's the same style thing, and that definitely makes sense. Especially it depends on the person, I'm sure. But at the same time, like the logic definitely makes sense with what you're saying there. So yeah.
Yeah.
And then I do have another question. You don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but what's the largest wager you placed on Kirgo so far?
Oh, that's interesting because sometimes I need permission to go above certain limits.
I guess what's the
There was
limit
like
they gave you?
well, it depends on the game, it depends on the provider because there's
Hmm.
there's different there's like different sections basically. So each section has their own set of rules, and then you can get different limits, but still has contingencies. I'd say 300K in blackjack. I can play every hand 300K in blackjack.
Okay, so at an in-person casino, you're able to negotiate some things when you have a high enough bankroll or a high enough credit line. Are you? I mean, you just said you're able to, but like, it's to me, it would seem harder on an online casino to negotiate those type of things. I mean, I guess if you're pulling up with X amount of dollars, they're gonna let you do whatever you want, basically.
If you try to play online, you'll never meet the owners. You'll never even like meet anybody, right? Because it's just
Yeah,
digital. Like you don't even know who they are, what their real names are, where they're from. You'll never get a phone number. You won't even get like a real email. You'll get
yeah.
like a customer support email address at best, but not with Kirgo, which was a huge difference.
Hmm.
I have spoken to the owners of most online casinos. But when it came to Kirgo, these are people I actually like know. Like these are touchable, accessible people that aren't scared to face the public. They're like, hey, like this is who I am. This is my situation. What can I help you with?
Mhm.
And I have every owner's number on my phone. I can literally FaceTime them right now and almost guaranteed they answer. And even if they're busy, they're like, hey man, I'm out to lunch. Let me call you later. Right. I'm like,
Mhm.
cool. And they'll always call back and be like, what's going on? I'm like, hey, there's something over here that looks fishy. What's up with this?
Mhm.
And we work on it right away. And I did find nothing like super consequential, but I found some things that I thought were less than favorable to the gambler.
Mhm.
And I posted about it before I told Kirgo, right? I just made a
Mhm.
post. And so it offered this window for everybody who saw my story. I get good views, but it
Mhm.
offered a window for anybody who saw my story that day to go and exploit that or stay away from it, right?
Mhm.
Actually, one time when they put paintball in, so this is a cool story I'm proud of. When they put paintball in, I knew like in not like insider trading, but I play paintball, right? So I knew some information that the Kirgo executives were not privy to. So I watched them set the lines and I knew that a couple of them were big mistakes. So I posted on Instagram. I go, if you're watching this, go lay all the money you can on the following bets.
Mhm.
And we just me and all my fans just printed money until Kirgo caught up and fixed it. And it works in reverse also. If I see something not cool, I post it and I go, "Hey, don't bet this over there. It don't look right." And then you'll see as soon as Kirgo catches my story, they go and they change the back end right away.
Yeah, which that line of communication is needed because I mean, you got people like you just said that are acting how you act. You know what I mean? And what you place, they're gonna place. So even say you bet 50,000 on a sports bet, there could be another 50,000 coming in collectively through everything else. So yeah, your influence there definitely they it would be in their best interest to not keep you happy, but keep things fair. You know what I mean? Keep things open, keep things honest, and to at least talk to you, the player. And at the end of the day, you're gonna talk to these people more than we are, more than the normal player is going to. So you're like the voice for the normal player, basically, to these big casinos and keeping everyone fair. So, and before I even saw your videos, I mean, I knew casinos won, but I thought they fairly won and just like siphoned off their money as is, you know what I mean, on their edges and stuff like that. But until I saw your videos and stuff, I didn't realize how much they're actually like. For example, a continuous shuffler machine. Like I never would have thought that that would have been an issue until I started seeing your videos, and you're like, oh, and I didn't know at the time. You know what I mean? Like it stuff like that. You've exposed a lot in the short time that you've been on social media, and a lot of the stuff that you've exposed like is genius to these up and coming players and to just normal people that are just trying to have fun at the casino and they don't realize how much they're getting got because they didn't realize there was even an edge within the edge basically.
Mhm.
So yeah.
I try to
Um
be for the people. I try to be for the people the best I can. I've never made a dollar on the internet. I've never done a single brand deal. I've never done paid promo. I've never done advertising. I never done nothing. I never made a dollar, right?
yeah.
And every podcast I go on, instead of accepting the appearance fee, I make them all donate to charity, the Innocence Project.
Hmm.
So I've never made a dollar. So all this stuff where I is all liability to me and my life and my livelihood.
Mhm.
And I'm exposing casinos and I'm teaching or I'm giving information or guiding or helping is all purely to help the people.
Yeah.
It doesn't do anything for me. I already know the information.
Yeah.
I did my blood, sweat, and tears to learn what I learned the hard way. I spent millions or won millions or lost millions or did this or took this risk to learn what I learned. So anytime I share it, it's really just to help the people.
So speaking of losing millions, um, I w- I've heard some things that you've said before, but like from you, what is your opinion on slots?
Well, slots are the worst. But they're kind of fun. When I play online,
Yeah.
honestly, I like playing slots.
Really?
Not because I think I'm gonna win, but because it's like communal. It's like the boys gather around, and then we all are like rooting together. Like we're like
Mhm.
let's say there's five of us. We all pick our favorite slot, or we try to play a slot that we've never played before. And there's so many. There's like tens of thousands. Like you couldn't have played them all.
Mhm.
And we just like pick one that like looks cool or whatever it is, and we just start spinning, and like everyone's in on it. And I really enjoy that camaraderie. That's like fun. I don't gamble to like pay my bills anymore. I just gamble like when it's fun with the fellas. And so I've converted. I like playing online slots.
That's crazy. So there's people out there. You showed me some of them. I think there's some people. There's people like there's a guy I know, for example. His name's Vegas Matt, and all he does is play slots. There's people out there that all they do is play slots, and they claim to win. They claim to make money on it, which seems impossible because, as you know, they take what 92 cents for every dollar or 88 cents every dollar or something like that.
Right.
So like. Unless you're hitting a huge jackpot, it doesn't seem like you could win. But there's people out there, a lot of YouTubers, a lot of influencers, a lot of TikTok personalities that all they do is slots and they claim to win. So,
they're selling you something online. They're lying. They're lying. If they really won in slots, they wouldn't be posting about it. They would also get banned before they can even post. And if they're selling you something, then they have to show you they're winning, or else how are they gonna sell it to you?
Yeah.
I don't sell anything. I also don't really care. I don't like have a reason to win or lose, but or post win. You know what I mean? But there are slot hustlers that exist. There are people who have found a way to win in slots over a long period of time. That's true. They are not on the internet. That is also true.
Yeah, because why would you tell everyone and then they go do it and then either it gets patched or there's too many people doing it?
Make the block hot.
Yeah, like that. It makes no sense.
Yeah. So our podcast, I Hate Rappers. We hate rappers because we work with them constantly and they're a pain in the ass. If we're just being honest. So if you want to say a name. Go ahead. If you don't say a name. What's I guess like a little story of a rapper who was being a pain in the ass.
I got a lot. I'm in the same boat as you guys. Drake was the first one that ever found me. Like he's the one who co-signed me. He put me on a week after Drake was Lil Baby. A week after Lil Baby, me and Adam 22 go way back. But Adam was like, "Yo, you're popping off with Drake and Baby. You want to come on No Jumper?" I'm like, "Sure." So I dominated in like that hip hop culture, right? Like that was like my demographic when I first came on the scene. And bro, I met everybody, same like you, I'm sure. So many of them have given me bad experiences. I'll tell you two that are actually really cool, and then I'll tell you one that's like super legit, all bad, right? So Rich the Kid is one of my best friends. He lives with me a lot. Like he'll come crash upstairs in this house for like, I don't know, weeks at a time. He just like shows up unannounced and he's like, I'm not leaving for a while. And that's cool. And he's like an awesome human being, but he does this thing that nobody probably realizes that's like not in his inner circle. When he's just chilling in his real element, he's the nicest guy. He's like so like always smiling and joking and laughing. He loves skating, so we skate a lot. But he plays like this character when people come around. And his character is the epitome of why people hate rappers. Like he plays into that. You know what I mean? He plays that like mopey, too cool for school, like sauced up, like don't talk to me, Hollywood. And it's so annoying, bro, because like I'll just be chilling and we'll be like hanging out, whatever, and then people will come to the house and then all of a sudden he's in character and I like don't even think about it I understand, he's a superstar. It's the number one song in the world right now with Kanye, Carnival. And I love Rich, shout out Rich, but it's just like it catches me off guard, like even to this day, like all this time later, and I'm just like, god dang, So 2K Baby is also, that's like my brother, man. And I know 2K since he was pretty young. When he was really younger, he was miserable, bro, because he started getting fame and money out the hood, and he's like in LA, and then he's in Vegas, and he's like, you know what I mean? He's not in the trenches anymore, but his mind still was in the trenches, and he didn't have the guidance. His father passed away, and he was sort of just on his own, and he had this money and like this fame coming up, and he's like, doing features with all these like superstars, and he didn't really know how to act, which I can't blame him for. But he thought that he should act the way he thought other superstar rappers acted. But again, just like the Rich thing, it was an act, it was part of the personas, the image. So to him, he thought people really were acting like that. So he was acting like that all the time. And I spent so much time with 2K. I was like, yo, listen, bro, I was like, you got to chill, man. Like, this is not correct, And we'd go out together and he'd kind of slow down a little bit and he'd
Mhm.
look around and then the veil started to come off. And he got a little bit older and he saw the difference between work and real life. And now he's like the most humble. He stopped drinking, he stopped smoking. He's just like the most humble. He's like a sponge, he absorbs. And that was like, it was beautiful to watch 2K Baby's transformation as he got a little older. Like, that was cool, man.
And I heard through the grapevine that you might have a song with him. Is that true?
I do. I got a couple songs. Bro, listen to this, bro. I got songs, bro. I'm not a rapper. Let me just preface with I cannot rap. I am not a rapper. I will never be a rapper. I'll never pretend to be a rapper. I'm the worst rapper, like, ever. Like, I'm not a rapper. I'm not even the worst rapper. I'm just not a rapper,
Yeah.
But so Lil Keed, that was my best friend. Rest in peace, Lil Keed. And I remember we were chilling one time, and my cameraman was with us. And my cameraman was like, yo, I'll be right back. I got to go grab somebody. And we were in Lil Keed's room. And my cameraman put the camera down, and I didn't know that it was recording. None of me and Keed didn't know it was recording. It ended up being like this beautiful thing. But what happened was, so we're just chilling. He was drinking. I was just chilling. And he's like, yo, Mick, I'm going to play this beat pack. Tell me what you like. I'm like, all right, cool. He starts playing me this beat pack that came in. And this one, I started driving. I was like, oh, okay. And then, mind you, I cannot rap. I cannot, gun to my head, rap a good song. You might as well just pull the trigger because I can't do it. But I start freestyling, just goofing off, And honestly, it kind of went hard. So he took what I was freestyling it, and he tweaked it and he made it his own. And then we started freestyling together and like plugging and whatever. And it was going. He goes, bro, the song's fire. We have to go to the studio right now. I gotta put the record in.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. He goes, bro, can I put your name in the song? I'm like, yeah, of course, dog. Like, whatever. And he goes, nah, screw that. He goes, do you want to be on the song? And I'm like, bro, like, I can't rap. And he goes, bro, you're in the studio every day with every big rapper in the world. Like, you can figure it out. I'm like, I can't rap, but I'll try. So we go in there, and Keed helps me plug all of my whole verse. And he passed away shortly after. So Lil Keed's last song ever was my first song ever. And then when I did that, it was just such a cool memory. Like, I look back at that footage, and it was just so cool. And I am in the studio like every day with like all these superstars, and they're always just saying stuff to me like, bro, you want to try? You want to try? So I was like, I tell everyone like, yo, I'm not a rapper. Like, I can't rap. They're like, nah, just for the memes, bro. Like, just hop on the mic. I'm like, okay. So from that, I got Low Keyed. I got 2K Baby. I got a song with Chief Keef. I got a song with Wet Brain. I got a song. Oh, I got a lot of songs. I'd have to look at my file, but I got a lot of songs, like a lot of superstars.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, 2K Baby was so instrumental that my song that I have with Chief Keef, 2K Baby was in the booth with me, helping me plug each one of my bars.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that is wild.
I hope one day, you put out an album and it goes double platinum and you get your plaque.
You ever like leak it onto like a private SoundCloud or anything?
I just never. I don't even know. I don't know.
Okay. Well, you said you got one more story about a pain in the ass rapper that you hated.
Yeah,
I need that.
Yeah. Oh, Roka, you know what's funny about the songs I have?
Mhm.
Not only does every single one of my songs have some crazy like superstar feature on it, but every single song was made by a superstar producer. If you hear the producer tag, if I put out an album, bro, every single producer tag, it's every single producer tag. And high key, that's kind of a flex.
That's crazy.
Oh, wait. I guess before we go on, who's your favorite producer that you worked with then? Or at least have been in the studio and like have kind of seen the process?
I would have to say pretty strongly that it would have to be Big Head. Big Head outside the industry, like, that's my dog. And he's the easiest to work with, bro. And he's so funny. We hang out all the time. And we're super alike. And so it's just easy, bro. I used to just like go to their house. So he used to live in the house that had the studio on the other floor. And I would just be there for days at a time, just listening to all these, what was eventually going to be a platinum record being made. And it was just so cool to watch that happen at Big Head's house. And like, that's just my dog,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was the soundtrack for our high school with Peep, and he did some stuff with a whole bunch of people. So, yeah.
Oh, the bad one? You want the bad one?
Yeah.
All right, so this is the bad one. So growing up, I was a huge Lil Jon fan. back in the day, way before iPhones, what you used to have to do is you'd put your phone next to the computer speaker, play a song, recording it on your phone, save it, and then put it as your ringtone. I had a Lil Jon song as my ringtone and a different Lil Jon song as my text tone. So no matter what, every alert was a Lil Jon, right? I just really like I just like the crunk music. I don't know, when I was younger. And so all these years later, I get invited to EBC in Vegas, and I'm on stage, and my section's on stage, and Lil Jon was on the stage too. It was basically just like his group and my group. Like, we're the only ones there that day. And I'm like, oh, no way. Like, that's so cool. I was such a huge fan. At the time, I'm like, I'm such a huge fan. And I tell my security, I go, yo, can you tell his security that I would just like to say hello, right? And he's talking to these two fat girls. And then this is the thing, though, right? Everybody's entitled to like what they like. I don't, whatever, you're entitled to like what you like. Like, I don't care. You like fat girl, whatever. Don't bother me none. So
I mean, his name is Lil Jon.
Yeah, well, he's talking to these two fat girls, whatever. And I see like I tell my security tells his security, I see his security tell him, mind you, we're like kind of standing like right next to each other, kind of, right? And he goes like this. He listens to the security, he's talking to the two fat girls, he looks over at me and just looks back and goes back to talking to so it was like this, it was like a side eye, it was like he goes back to talking to the fat girls. And I'm like, whatever, bro. You ain't been relevant since 2001. You probably ain't seen a stage since 2005. Like, you're flirting. Like, live your life,
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not gonna press the dude. Like, I get it. You're in your element. I interrupted you in your time. I get it. It happens to me all the time. I get it. No big deal. So then I was like, either when he's done flirting with the girl, when he's done flirting with the fat girls, he'll talk to me. Didn't happen that way. I'm like, all right, whatever. Then I go, the only exit to the stage, it's like the celebrity exit. Like, we have to walk out together, right? It's the only option. I go, in passing, I'm just going to say like, hey, I love your stuff. Whatever, the show ends, we're going to get off stage and we're walking to the back. And I go, and I'm trying to say, hey, bro, I love your stuff. And he totally ducks me, like just dodges. And I'm like, bro, like, what he didn't realize was he was on my stage. I was the invited guest. That was my stage. He like knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who asked a favor for him to get on stage. That was my doing. Like, don't play with me, bro. This, like, if you really wanted to offend me, I will have you removed from my stage. No problem, right?
Yeah.
So we go to walk outside, and I had my chick with me. I mean, I had like a little posse, but I drove one of my McLarens, and I valeted at the VIP valet. So me and my posse go to leave, and I'm in the front with my girl. And whatever, he ducks me on the way out. Me and my chick were the first ones at the VIP valet. Boom, my posse pulls up. All of a sudden, Lil Jon walks out with the same two fat girls. And I'm like, dang, he's really trying, whatever. Good for him, I guess. Yeah. So the McLaren that I drove that day was metallic lime green. And it was super rare, and it's limited edition. It's that particular McLaren is a spectacle, right? And it's my favorite one I ever owned. So it pulls up, and I watch him move from like he's talking to the girls. My car's pulling up behind him in the valet, and he like turns from the girls to look at my car, and he's like, ooh, he does like one of those. He doesn't know it's my car.
Yeah.
So I always open the passenger door for my lady. Like, if I'm ever out with a girl, like, that's just like a go-to, right? It's a really easy way to show respect. Well, what I did was, he was standing a little too close to my passenger door. So I walked by and I shoulder checked him on the way. And then I just lifted up the door to let my lady in. And then I closed it. And I looked back at him, got in the whip, and took off. And then the only other time I seen him was Ryan Garcia's the homie.
Yeah.
And so he gives me like front row floor seats to his fight with, it might have been with Tank. I can't remember. We were at Crypto.
Okay.
Whoever he fought in LA, I can't even remember. It's like a year ago or so. And I looked behind me, and Lil Jon's sitting behind me. And I was like, yeah, stay behind me. You know what I mean? And it's like this like internal, like stupid little, like, it was like so stupid. Also, Lil Jon probably doesn't even know who I am, honestly. He probably never meant to disrespect me. He probably never meant to offend me. And all of this is way bigger in my head than it is in real life. But it was unfortunate because I idolized him when I was super young. And then I've only had negative experience with him, and it was like a repeated offense. And that's all. But he probably doesn't even know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we don't got beef. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if he sees this and he hits you up and he's like, "Hey, you know, let's make up, let's go gamble. Are you doing it?"
Yeah, of course, man. Like I'm telling you, bro, he really probably doesn't know like that he even offended me. It was probably unintentional. It's definitely bigger in my head than it is in real life.
Yeah.
And really, he did shape part of my childhood. Like he shaped my
Yeah.
opinion and outlook on life based on his music. So the reason I got offended today is because of character development that happened a long time ago. But a long time ago, my character was developed based on his music. So how can I be upset that I am the way I am because of him? You know what I mean?
So that I mean they do say never meet your heroes or whatever they say. It's not going to live up to your expectation or idols or whatever. Yeah.
Never meet your idols. Yeah.
Yeah.
So before we get going, who's your favorite artist that's out right now, and who's your favorite of all time? It could be any genre of music.
You know what's so funny you asked me? Because right now I have a window open on my computer. I'm listening to Mimo the Mafiosa. So I have to say that because first of all, it is one of my like newer favorites. But I'm literally right before this video with you started. That's what I was listening to on this computer. So that's what I would say.
Usually when I ask that question, I have them pull up their phone and see what the last song they listened to was. But he's got it on the computer, so it made sense.
Same things up.
Yeah.
What about all time?
You know what else is newer that is super fire is DLU Kemp.
No, I'm not hip.
Yeah, you should check it out. So he takes these he has like a lot of like singles, but he also takes these like retro bangers and remixes them, and they're like super gully. They're like super thorough and they're just gully, bro. I just like it. Like, bro, he's got this I don't even want to say the line cuz I'm going to get clipped and it's going to get taken out of context, but it goes so dumb hard. Like, okay. I'll just say it. Like, I'm not saying that I feel this way. This is just a representation of how gully his music is, right?
Yep.
So he takes Mike Jones' Still Tippin', right? And remixes it. And he's got a line that says, "She yelling at me while she tripping. She know I kill women. I got charges. I got charges for it and they still pending."
Yeah.
And like that's just to show like context of how gully his music is, and I just like it, you know.
Yeah, the word plays there.
Yeah, 100%. But hey, me personally, I do have to get going. Zach's gonna be here for a few more minutes. I gotta get back to anti-money laundering, so hopefully I don't see any casinos on there.
Do you do the anti-money laundering so you could learn better how to launder money?
It's a good question.
All right, all right, I will tell this story before I do leave. So, I just went through the training course about I think 3 months ago. And one of the things that they had us do was get us in a group of 3 people and we all discuss, okay, we all just learn ways of how we are supposed to catch people who are money laundering, who can money launder the best, like theoretically out of the training group. And when me and my group presented, I talked, I got like the whole idea, like nobody in my group did anything just cause like I had like just a crazy, like just, snap thought of like, let's do this. And my trainer just like was silent for a second. He goes, "Greg, I you kind of scared me right there." So I guess I did learn it to not money launder because I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. But if there was someone in your group, it's probably the guy who does rap shows and
owns a recording studio that's cash intensive and all that.
Yeah. So, well, we appreciate you being here. I'm gonna stay for a little bit, and then I will see you soon.
All right, Mickey, it was great talking to you. It was great meeting you over Zoom and everything, and a big fan over here. And so are a lot of my boys. And every time we go to the casino, I always say I'm channeling my inner you, but then I kind of mess it up and I lose all my money. So, have a good rest of the interview.
Pleasure,
So now that he's gone, we're gonna talk money laundering. So, so when I go gambling, like you said, it started with you and your friends going out, just having a good time, just trying not to get in trouble. Needed something to do on the weekends, and then more on weekdays and stuff like that. But like that's where a lot of people are in my age range. So I'm 22. I'm about to be 23. So do you have like 21 to 25, do you have any stories or any moments that you remember from that age range that really hit for you and you think about a lot?
In life or in gambling?
In gambling.
Yeah, those were some of the best times. Like I don't have something that'll like change a man in his early 20s outlook on gambling, but what happened for me when I was that age was I started to make money in life. I started making a lot of money actually, and I was at like I was like on my come up of the biggest, like whatever I've made in my life didn't compare to where I was at in life at that moment.
Mhm.
So I started gambling bigger, and I was living in the Miami area, and we got hurricanes, like 38 hurricanes a month there, and we always have to evacuate.
Mhm.
So my chick at the time lived with me. And we'd be like, all right, emergency evacuation. Like, what city do you want to go vacation in, basically, right?
Mhm.
And we could pick like Atlanta. We can go all the way to New York. We can just go, and that's what we used to do. We used to just get in one of the whips, and we just pack a suitcase each and just go and like
Mhm.
figure it out, And one time we were like, "Oh, let's go to New Orleans. Like that'd be so cool." We're like, "All right, bet." So me and her start driving, and we go to New Orleans, and what we'd do is we'd stop at every casino city on the way because they're so safe from storms. They can't
Yeah.
lose power. 24 hours you can eat. You can like
Yeah.
it's just action all the time. So even in like an emergency, a casino's like the best place to be. So
Yeah.
on course, we'd stop at Hard Rock in Tampa. We would stop like in Biloxi, like Baton Rouge, like we'd take the whole route and stop in all these casinos. And what happened is I would earn like points, like comps,
Mhm.
and then they would start calling me and contacting me even non hurricane season. And I'd be like, no, I don't need to go. Like I live in Miami. There's a Hard Rock here. I used to go to Coconut Creek anyway, not even Hard Rock, but
Mhm.
I was like, I don't have to travel. Like I'm good. But then every time there's a hurricane, I'd remember. I'd be like, yo, we can get some dope baller suite. Everything in the whole like southeast hemisphere of the United States is sold out because everybody from the whole state of Florida is evacuating.
Yeah.
But they will always make room for me in a casino when I play big enough.
Yeah.
So I was like, we're guaranteed a place to stay. We're guaranteed food. We're guaranteed everything. Like, let's go back through and hit all these casino towns.
Yeah.
And we started staying in New Orleans a lot and gambling a little there. And then we're like, no, Biloxi's the spot. And then it was like this, like we took like this countrywide tour, me and my girl, and we just literally lived for maybe like a year and a half almost. Like practically we just lived on the road and we just toured America, like going to all these casinos. And all the casino companies, there's only like a handful of big companies, they own like all these casinos. So if you
Mhm.
play in this little road dunk casino in the middle of nowhere in this random town, they probably are owned by a company that owns casinos in all these other cities. So no matter what city you're in, you have the same point of contact, you have the
Mhm.
same comp, you have the same like every points earned. And it just became this really cool, like we lived for free. We got to travel the whole country for free because the casinos paid for everything. They gave me
Yeah.
cars, they gave me limos, they gave me private jets, they gave me the most baller VIP suites. They gave me money when I walked in the door. They're like, hey, give this to your girl so she can go shopping. The truth is they were trying to get her away from me so I can gamble. But
Yeah.
nonetheless, like they're like, here's food, here's this. And it turned into this countrywide tour, me and my girl just on the road. And we got to experience so many cities I would have never otherwise seen. We got to experience so many things. We saw all the shows, all the Cirque du Soleils, all the everything. And it was a beautiful time in my life.
Yeah, I just started getting into it. I know I go with people that don't even open up a player's card, and and I'm like, you're missing out on so much free stuff. It's at your fingertips, and their reasoning, I get it, and I can see where they're coming from. But like one of my friends, he refuses to use a player's card when he plays slots because he thinks that it's tracking his play and it's not going to pay him out. You know what I mean? And I could see that, I get that, but
He's right. There's a thing. He's gonna lose no matter what.
yeah,
So why not get the rebates when you lose?
yeah,
But he is right. They are tracking and they make it harder. The thing is, they don't need your player's card to track.
yeah,
So if you're a relevant enough player, they're going to track you no matter what. Like I
yeah.
never show a player's card. I mean, I have them all. I'm the black card at all, at all of them, but
Mhm.
it doesn't even matter, bro. They're tracking you regardless, but you're also going to lose regardless. So if you're going to lose, might as well take the rebates.
No, absolutely. And like, so even so, my friend group, when we go, there's a few places we go. I don't know if you've ever been up in Traverse City. There's like these Indian casinos that you only need to be 18 or 19 years old to go to these casinos. So we used to go there when we were like before we were 21. And then before we were 21, we also went to, so I live in Detroit and it's really close to Canada. And in Canada, you only had to be 19. So we would go across the border just to Windsor or wherever in Canada, Niagara Falls, a whole bunch of places, and you could gamble at 19. And like you just said, like we would they would comp us a room and some dinner and this and that. And even if we lost a little, we got a night out of it. You know what I mean? It was like going to Dave and Buster's with your friends, basically. So,
Yeah.
It's a Dave and Buster's that you can walk out a millionaire potentially. But yeah.
Norm McDonald says gambling might be an addiction, but it's the only addiction that can solve all your problems.
That's true. What do you think about the saying that so whenever my friend's at a table and he's trying to walk away or he's done for the night, I always tell him that 99% of gamblers stop before they win big.
Yeah. I mean, it's true because eventually everybody will win big. The question is, in the long term, do you win more than you lose?
Yeah. It's the same thing with a blackjack table. You sit down. I have a friend of mine who sits down with like $100, $25 minimum. He's got 4 bets. You know what I mean? If you sit down with $10,000 at $100, you know what I mean? You can. It's just about when. It's just how long you can play and how long you can dip down and then dip up. But a lot of people, they dip down, they hit their rock bottom and then they're out. So or the other way up. So. But yeah, and yeah, I think I got one more question, and then we can wrap here. I appreciate you sticking around. Yeah, so we're a college show, so I wanted to end with this. Do you think school, high school, college, anything is important to success in life? Because like as someone who's in it right now, not to bash the stuff that I've done so far, the stuff that I will do, but like I see myself with or without school being successful. You know what I mean? And do you think the same for yourself or the same for other people?
What a heavy question.
Yeah.
School will always help. I'm going to preface with that.
Mm-hmm.
Going to school will always help. Not going to school offers a huge opportunity of failure.
Mm-hmm.
Way larger than going to school.
Mm-hmm.
If you were a gambling man or you were a smart man or you were of any sort of investment type of mentality, going to school has a way smaller window of failure than not going to school. Not going to school offers a very smaller opportunity, but of way greater success than going to school. So I think everything is to each their own, and everything is sort of left. It's so hard, man. Like,
I don't. Yeah, I get what you're trying to say. I just like there's kids that, and I was one of them that I'm sitting in class and I'm like, I could be doing something. I could be starting a business right now. You know what I mean? I could be doing this, and that. And I'm stuck learning about world history. Like there's people out there in high school that probably even listen to a podcast like this or something else that are feeling the same way. So
my advice is everyone should go to school. They should finish high school. They should go to college. That wasn't my path in life, but my path was also way harder than it needed to be. Mm-hmm. Given the opportunity to go back and do it again, I would, and I would do so by finishing high school and going to college. 100%. If you have a special trade, craft, or specific path in life, almost for certain, college will help elevate you towards it. There's a lot of opportunities that you will not be provided in life, professionally speaking, if you do not graduate from college. Not graduating from college offers one of 2 options: either minimal employment with a mediocre life, mostly consisting of manual labor, or your second option is, which is very, very rare, is that you become a success through your own path by starting a company. How many people, how many companies a year get started versus how many fail and how many make it? The statistic is astronomical.
Yeah.
You are incredibly unlikely to be successful in life. You are incredibly unlikely to start a company and it succeed. You are incredibly unlikely. The pain, the pressure, the stress, the uncertainty, the lack of security, the lack of safety, all of those things that come with starting your own business can ruin human beings. You know, it could eat you away. But you can still try to start a company if you graduated college. And if it fails, you have a great fallback plan. If you didn't graduate college, your only option is manual labor or start a company. And if your company fails, you have nothing to go back on. The answer should always probably be finish college.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate the advice and I would second that. And yeah. Well, we appreciate you coming on today. Before we go, have you ever thought of starting your own podcast?
Yeah, I mean, people pitch me all the time. Even World Star, and like shout out Danny. Like I love those guys at World Star. They approached me and they're like, "Yo, we want to start your podcast and it'll live on our platform." Which like you can't have a bigger slam dunk in the podcast space than that probably.
Yeah.
But I just don't really want to. It's a full-time job and I already have full-time jobs, so why stop doing what's already working for me to do something that might work?
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with it, bro, because you always have to worry about guests. And I don't want to be calling all my friends like, yo, can you please do me a favor? Can you come on my podcast? And like, please don't. Hey, I don't want to do all that, bro. Like, my friends like to hang out with me because we're just chilling. I don't want to put no like pressure on it. And like, also, what am I going to talk about? I don't even think people want to hear me talk that much. I don't want to hear me talk this much. I'm talking, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to, I don't want to hear what I have to say. I don't think that many other people do too. So imagine starting a podcast where I can hear myself talk more. I don't think anybody wants that.
Well, we appreciate you coming on this one at least. And with all transparency, like I mean, I hit you up on DM and like you'd be surprised with the amount of people that's how I can tell if someone's genuine or not. If I hit them up on DM and they personally will get back to me and they take the time to do something like this, like you can tell if someone's genuine or not. This Waka was the same way, like with this weekend. Like there's other people that I know I hit them up. It says seen, like, you know what I mean? They're it's whatever. It's whatever. So that's story for another time. But I appreciate you coming on today. Where can the people find you? Where can they see some more stuff?
I'm on all platforms at Dirty Goth Boy. Boy is BOI. That's really it. Dirty Goth Boy on everything.
Sweet. Well, we appreciate you coming on today, and we hope to see some big things from you soon, and we'll run this back in the future in person someday down the line.
Yeah, I'd love to, man. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, yeah, thank you so much.